guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so, after the maintenance ends, which will probably be starting in a couple of hours after this video goes up, obviously version Z and all that kind of stuff will be live. Keep an eye out on the channel, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. I will go live once the maintenance ends and do a sort of like version Z launch party stream. That should be quite interesting. We could go through and look at all of the new stuff. But with the timing of the reveal of JANEMBA on Facebook and Twitter, it probably means that his banner is going to drop once the maintenance is over as well. So we did talk a little bit about it yesterday with the announcement. I went over the unit. We'll talk about him a little bit here. We won't go over him in crazy detail. Obviously, you can read it on the screen, read it on the wiki, or you can check out yesterday's video for a little bit more detail. But we are going to talk about him, whether you should summon, his banner, the upcoming things that you should consider. So, straight off the bat, as I always say in these kind of summon videos, if you're somebody who just summons for characters you like, or you're somebody who wails out on the game, you know, you're probably going to summon anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? So normally these should you summon kind of videos are more aimed at people who are either completely free to play or who just don't really spend a huge amount. And really, the general rule of thumb when it comes to legendary summon banners is that you probably should skip them. Because I think JANEMBA is cool. Obviously, he's like a big meme on Twitter because loads of people don't like him. But I think he's very cool. He's a Corroded Body and Mind and Movie Bosses leader. So, obviously, Corroded Body and Mind is a team that is very difficult to run if you don't have the tech JANEMBA. He has returned once on Global. So, obviously, for some people who, if they were struggling to do the Corroded Body and Mind mission for the GT Goku event because they didn't pull him, he has returned at one point and was an option for red coins, but I don't know if he's necessarily like a high priority unit to pick for coins, so having a Corroded Body and Mind leader is obviously good. Movie bosses, I mean, there are a few movie bosses leaders that we have already. Broly has the slightly better leader skill, but obviously is a bit weirder for the team because he doesn't have big bad bosses. His links are obviously very Saiyan based, whereas JANEMBA has links that are very common on the big bad bosses on the movie bosses team, like big bad bosses, which Broly doesn't have. And then things like Metamorphosis, Brutal Beatdown, Fear and Faith, like these are all very common links on a movie boss's team. So he's a pretty good leader. His super attack effects kind of suck. And then he is a defensive unit. So he guards in slot 1 or 2. He builds up attack and defense in slot 2 or 3. So you kind of want to... The idea is really for like longer form events, like if you are trying to pull him so you can do the GT Goku event mission, you want to put him in slot 2 for the first couple of turns till he gets 3 attacks off and is fully built up, and then you just keep him in slot 1 for the entire event and let him tank and do okay damage. Like, he's not supposed to be a damage dealer, so if you're somebody out there who doesn't like LR JANEMBA because he doesn't hit crazy high attack stats, then you just don't understand what the unit is supposed to do. Like, he's not supposed to be the hardest hitting unit on your team. He is a tank, right? And then he does have a rage mode that you can use a little bit later on, because obviously HP has to be 66% or more from the 6th turn. So in a longer form event, I mean, on the teams that he's on with links like Metamorphosis and stuff like that, it's not going to be too difficult to hit this restriction. It just means you're only going to see it in longer form events. And then it is a rage mode, which, I mean, it's nothing to get too hyped about. Like, rage mode is basically like the giant ape thing, where you're obviously not getting your links and stuff like that. So these kind of forms really were impacted a lot by the link level system. Like, a lot of the Great Ape units, we talked about this when we did this ESBR stage, like, if you fully link leveled them, they're better when they're not transformed, because they're actually getting their links active and getting all these extra buffs. So, I mean, it gives you a turn where you don't have to take any damage. So for something like the GT Goku event, like if you could time this for like the Golden Ozaru phase or something, then obviously that's a whole turn where you don't take any damage. The downside of that, of course, is JANEMBA is physical, so unless you have dupes or skill orbs, he's not going to be able to crit the giant ape. But he does at least get extra key per key sphere obtained, so it makes it a little bit easier to get his super attacks, which actually, to be fair, in his rage state, he does have a 50% chance to crit on his super. So actually, he is perfect to save this transformation for the Golden Ozaru. So if you're somebody who needs him because of that Corroded Body and Mind mission, he is obviously going to be very, very good for that. So I think he's a cool unit. I think he gets way more hate than he deserves. Obviously, as a content creator, I pretty much summon for everything, but I actually want to summon for him. I think he's pretty cool. Now, the downside, of course, as we always talk about with legendary summon banners, is the banner is kind of terrible. So, with every legendary summon banner, obviously this is how it looked on JP. The new main featured unit is the new LR. That's the one you want. Everything else is kind of like, eh. I mean, we got Tech Pycon. I realised the other day, not only have I not actually easy A'd my Tech Pycon yet, I didn't realise I haven't even Dokkan awakened him. So, that's how good he is, right? This Int Pycon, he's STR on Global. He was alright when he came out, but he's super outdated now. Really hoping that him and that physical Kaioken Goku will get an easy A at some point. And then obviously they could be relevant again. Now, the Goten and Trunks is, the AGL and the physical one have their easy A's already, and they are pretty good on their team. The Tech one and the Int one were decent. They need to get an easy A, which when they do, I think these two will probably overtake these two in their relevance, because the Int and Tech ones actually have Fierce Battle, which will make them slightly better for the Goten and Trunks team. So, I mean, these guys aren't bad. It's just the fact that they are all older units. They're all in the general pool. So, unless you're a newer player, you probably have these guys anyway. This Goten, most people don't like him. He is the 40% Gifted Warriors support unit. He's one of the weaker 40% supports that have released in the last year or so, but he's alright. This STR Gohan that awakens into Super Saiyan Great Saiyaman, he's okay. Super types Majin Buu Saga support. This Videl obviously just got her easy A on Global, pretty decent healer. And then this Hercule, actually still reasonably good for the teams that he's on for things like Super Battle Road. He can dodge, he can stun, he has damage reduction. Like, he's not a great unit and he doesn't link super well with the rest of the team, but he is actually a viable defensive option and has been used in like no item runs and stuff. So this Frieza is pretty outdated as well. Forgot to mention him very briefly, but the banner is not like the worst legendary summon banner I've seen, because a few of these featured units are actually somewhat useful, but it's still, like, in compared to like a normal Dokkan Fest banner, like if you've got a bunch of extra stones or you pick up the sales that we're going to get with the drop of this banner, you're probably better off summoning for Super Vegeta if you're still trying to pull him, or just saving for whatever comes next, because there are going to be a couple of things upcoming. One thing to mention, of course, is we are getting, with version Z on JP, they got this. So presumably this banner is dropping when version Z comes out. It will come with sales, as all banners do. But version Z, when it dropped, came with a special sale pack that came with a green stone that allowed you to pick up an LR of your choice out of these 6. And I think it came with like 100 stones. So obviously that's something to bear in mind if you're somebody who spends, because you're probably buying it just for the green stone. And I will make a video about which one I think you should pick. But that obviously comes with a bunch of stones, right? So you are going to have stones available to summon if you so choose. But I do think his banner is, whilst it's okay for a legendary summon banner, it is not particularly good. And the other thing to bear in mind, of course, is the schedule. If we look over on JP, you know, obviously things are a little bit out of order, but we should assume, I guess, if things go back on track to the order of JP, then the next Dokkan Fest that releases will be this AGL Trunks. He's a bit of a divisive unit because he's really, really good in his base form, and then it seems like he just gets worse when you transform, which seems very counterintuitive. But there's a lot of Trunks fans out there. Like, a strong Trunks Dokkan Fest has definitely been wanted, a new one anyway. And of course, his side banner unit is the Heart Virus Goku, who's ridiculously good. Very strong defensive unit for things like Pure Saiyan's Extreme Super Battle Road. So I assume this is going to be the next Dokkan Fest banner that we get. And then, of course, as part of that celebration, there was no Part 2 LR, and then version Z released. So who knows what else they could put into that time slot on Global. Then Heroes happened on JP, and then we got to the point where the Androids came out. I know a lot of people are looking forward to them. The Android team gets a massive buff with their release, not just from the side banner unit, but then we get a whole bunch of easy A's. Like, obviously none of this are banners you need to consider saving your stones for, but then we get the Goku and Kid Buu dual Dokkan Fest, and I believe, I don't know if there was a banner actually to pick up the fusions units if you didn't get them already. I assume there was. So if they keep this tied into the Buu and Goku celebration, then a lot of these units become really, really good after they awaken and easy A. So if there is a banner, it gives you an opportunity to pick some of them up as well. So that's the thing. You can't it's not just about whether you should summon on this banner based on how good it is, but you've got to think we've got all this other stuff coming up very soon. We've also still got the Super Vegeta banner that's up until the end of the month, and Super Vegeta is very, very good. So I would say for most people it is a skip, unless you're, like I say, someone who spends, or someone who really, really likes JANEMBA, or you're just, you know, you really want him for that corroded body and mind mission. But even then, like, if you are a free-to-play player, still probably better to save your stones for one of these upcoming events. Remember that, of course, last year we got Golden Week at the same time as JP when they released the GT Super Saiyans, so it's very possible that that could happen again, and that will probably be very hype, because for Global that came right after a banner that I think it was Pycon and JANEMBA, and we didn't know it was going to be same time as JP, so a lot of people were low on stones when that dropped, so that's something to bear in mind, that, you know, to keep in mind to save for. So let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think of JANEMBA? Are you going to summon for him? Are you excited? Are you skipping? Are you picking up the stones? Let me know all of your plans for this down below. And hopefully I will see you at the stream when version Z releases. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.